Welcome to another MazPlay video. This is MazMojito, and today we're going to be picking up where we left off with foreverskies. Let's get to it. Okay, so where we last left off, we had just constructed our first blimp, and we were directed to head towards the blinking double flashing lights. So as you can see, there's a lot of debris in the sky, which is pretty typical, especially for storms. We're in the middle of a storm right now, so we have a choice of the red blinking light, which we're looking at right now. We're just going to pull our blimp up a little bit closer, and we have a blue blinking light in the distance. Now, each of the different types of lights have different type of resources there. There are a different type of tower, which is something that you will learn as you play and you unlock more of the journal entries and the codec entries and whatnot. But in this case, we're just following along with the storyline, which told us to head towards the double blinking lights. So as you can see, I really need to get my blimp a little bit closer because this is a starter blimp, so I don't have a lot of catwalks or areas to jump out of without falling to my death down below. So just got to be a little bit careful on where I place my blimp. And here we go, we're out. We'll head up the ladder here and take a look at this area, explore it a little bit, see if there's anything we can pick up. Usually at each of these little blinking towers, there's always loot to pick up. Some have better loot than others, but of course we're going to be looking around for anything that's glowing. It says, hey, this is a useful resource for you to pick up. Now you can ignore some things if you're running pretty full on inventory, which is going to be the case as you play this game. But for now, I'm just going to snatch up everything and bring it along with me for the ride on the blimp until I can build some cargo containers or some chests or whatnot so we can store this stuff. Some of the things you can't pick up, but they actually do glow. But you'll be able to use a scanner in the future or a tool that can break those resources down to useful components. So there's some items up here, and the first time you get things like plastic scrap there, they will appear in your journal and give you a lot more details on what that item is and what its purpose is for. As you can see, I have a very small blimp, only one helium I guess balloon, and only one or two little pods there for my actual blimp. So as you go along through the story, you'll be able to enlarge this blimp big time. But since we're just starting off, we got to kind of work with what we got. Now, getting back up in here, it could be a challenge. Sometimes what you have to do is look for your resource collector gun and try to get close enough where you can actually mount it and it'll pull you up on the ship. In my case, I'm gonna see if I can make see what I can make. Catwalks are really good for walking around on the outside of your blimp. Maybe this help me where I can actually pull myself up onto it, but we'll see. But here's the resource collector gun that we were talking about. Actually, that may be the fishing gun, but I think that might be the resource collector gun. So what we can do now is turn our ship around. We can actually use it to point at different things in the air on the building to collect resources. Now, the whole point of what I just did there was just to go to the top of the tower and pull that battery, which you saw. Every one of these towers have some kind of electrical battery that you want to pull out because you will need those in the future as you do more machine workbenches and stuff which need power. There's plenty of debris in the sky floating around. It's like the storm has passed, but this is your typical, especially the lower in altitude you get, you have that green haze down below, which is all like poison, what's left of the earth or whatever planet you're on. Then everything above that lower level is just debris. You can actually go out with the the resource collector gun that I just mounted there, and you can actually shoot some of these floating resources, especially the ones that glow, and they will give you materials back that you need for expanding and building new workbenches on your ship. In this case, the place I need to go to is pretty high up there. I'm not sure if I have enough balloon power and turbine power to go up that high, so I'm looking for an access point where I can park close enough so that I can jump out of my blimp and explore the tower up there. So we're gonna see what we can craft here in our fabricator. We probably unlock some new items. In this case, I unlocked the turbine, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to my airship so we can get some higher altitude. But while we're at it, we're going to put our lure to work and try to catch some moths or whatever is floating in the air so that we can keep our hunger level, which is the fork and knife symbol. We want to try to keep that out of the red. So here we go. We got a dust moth. It's best to cook those, but you can't eat them. They just kind of give you like some kind of disease symptoms, but you can look that up in the journal to see how to negate that disease or symptoms. We also want to keep our water levels up high, so we have some old canned water. We can go ahead and drink that up and fill it up. Our energy level will continue to go down until we actually sleep. So, or we can get some energy drinks and stuff. I believe as you go throughout the game, you'll unlock some more cooking recipes. But right now, we just pretty much got to work with what we have. I'm trying to find a good place to lock on this turbine so that we can raise the altitude of our airship and we can explore those upper platforms. Whenever it snaps blue, that means that it's at a good lock point. So, but obviously if it's red, I can't attach it. And we can always go back and move these. So it doesn't really matter if you need to initially put it somewhere that's not really where you want it. It doesn't matter. You can come back, you can recustomize your ship and move turbines all around. So for now, for the purposes of the game and keep the story going, we're just going to pop it where we can. Now, every time you go to these different towers, there's a good chance that you're going to find a resource or item that you can scan, and that will unlock new recipes to build certain machines. So as you can see, I just scanned that copper coil, which in turn unlocks some new things that I can now build. To actually fully harvest that, I need to use my tool extractor, which is on the airship. Basically, you point and aim at these coils and shoot it with your laser, and it pulls in all that copper. Those are those dust moths that you see me capture whenever I'm fishing for food. And here's something I can scan, which basically gave me a radar. So now this is a wrecked airship, and here's another thing I could scan, which is a helium tank. So those are two key ingredients for me to craft balloon expansions, as well as a map, kind of a GPS navigation map, so I can kind of steer and know where I'm going. So as long as I have the crafting resources, I should be able to build that in my fabricator. Going over here to the tower, this is the power source. You always want to make sure you grab that, because that's pretty much the main way you're going to get those items, except for when you go underground, do some caving or actually old city diving, which is a little bit later in the game. So we're looking around here. These helium tanks are very important, especially when it comes to expanding the capability of your balloon. You will need those for increasing your lift, so you can get higher to the higher towers. Here's some more copper coils, but again, we can't collect those by hand. We need to use our ship's resource collector, which is usually mounted on a catwalk somewhere. Eventually, you will be able to unlock a handheld resource collector, but that is really late in the game. So looking in here, we're going to try to see what we can. I always point first and look and see if there's anything that glows that says, hey, this is a scannable item, because by doing that, that unlocks even more recipes in our crafting benches. Doesn't look like there's much more I can do here, so I'm going to go on my fabricator and see what I can make. I've unlocked some new things. Anything that is white letters means that I have enough resources to craft it. Anything in green means I don't have all the resources I need to craft it. I'm probably short. Anything that's red means I'm missing like a whole bunch of resources, so I can't craft it. So we're gonna go through here and see what we can make, and then continue on with the story. As you can see, the balloon core is something key that I unlocked, that I can now make my airship go a little bit higher. So we're going to see if we can angle our ship in such a way so that we can point it at those copper coils and we can harvest those resources. Okay, so we pretty much harvest all the things that were available up on this tower. We got some copper, we got some polymer, and now we're just going to do some farming of some of the floating debris in the sky, which is pretty much going to be metals, and it's going to be the reddish, kind of scrappy looking things are going to be metals. The ball looking things are going to be synthetics. So you need both the metals and synthetics are two of the key ingredients for pretty much majority of the workbenches and items that you're going to craft. Sometimes the synthetics are used to make a resource or material that's used to make something even more high tier. So you always got to make sure that you have plenty of synthetics and metals. And there's no reason why you can't, because they're pretty much floating around the air constantly. As you can see, the sky is changing color. That means that we're starting to get a storm coming our way, and eventually you'll start hearing thunder and lightning, and that can potentially damage your ship, which is why you find so much of this repair glue or gum or gunk as you're going from tower to tower, because you'll need that to repair your ship. So we're going to do one more circuit around here, make sure we didn't miss anything on this tower before we head on. Usually the towers that have the big propellers on them, those are usually wind turbines, and those are going to have a pretty good amount of copper. And copper is one of the major resources that you need for building. Helium is very important too, so anytime you get a chance to see helium, definitely grab it, because you're going to need that to expand your airship. Now, that was an example of when I went really low on that bridge, I couldn't exactly jump back up onto my ship. So I just basically pointed at my resource collector and mounted it, and that kind of pulls you onto the ship. Here's some more wrecked wind turbines. I saw some down below, but the key is just angling your resource collector in such a way so that you can point that laser and get whatever you need. The range is pretty good on this, but sometimes you got to get a little bit closer for certain things. Never going to pass up an opportunity to get synthetics and metals, because those are so important. But we can spend all day here just collecting that stuff. So we'll collect a little more, then we'll move on. Okay, so as I was mentioning earlier, the importance of the synthetics and metals, they're pretty much a major ingredient for a lot of things as you look through the different list of items you can construct. The copper is also very important, because those are usually a key component for a lot of the stuff you can build as well on this fabricator. The research station pretty much unlocks new workbenches or new items that you can use and create in your fabricator, but those all require like certain resources in order for you to unlock that recipe. So, and your research station also always needs power, so you always want to be using those power cubes that you collect as you explore the different towers. So the turbines, you always got to make sure they're topped off with fuel, because they run out pretty quick. Different fuels have different fuel qualities and last longer as you play the game, you will unlock different fuel types, which don't burn out as fast. But right now, we're just starting off with the basics. So we're gonna pretty much have really bad gas mileage, if you will. And as you can see, I unlock some ability to craft more rooms, so I can expand the size of my airship, give me a little bit more walking space. Right now it's pretty claustrophobic, and I don't have any walls to protect me from falling outside down into the fog, which if you do, all it does is just respawn you right back in your airship, but you do take a hit on your health and some of your other resource bars. So I definitely want to pop a bed down right now, trying to get my lightning bolt, which is my stamina, back up. And every time you sleep, it's going to lower your food and water level, which is pretty common for a lot of these survival type games. You go to sleep, you're going to lose some your hunger, and your thirst is going to jump up. So we'll do one more pass, make sure we didn't miss anything, and then we'll head off to the next blinking light. And we'll just follow the tips that come up on the upper left screen, which is pretty much your quest log, and try to keep that story going too. But right now we're in exploration mode and we're in resource gathering mode. Okay, so this was a spot that we tried to come into earlier, but it was blocked off by some broken glass or some broken metal. So now that we cleared that, we're going to go through and pretty much take everything we can from here. Again, a lot of these items that we're looting, we're going to need them in the research station so that we can unlock more recipes and craft newer workbenches or new upgrades for our ship. So once we do that, we're going to head back and check our fabricator and check our research bench to see what we can now craft. Okay, so now we have our navigation screen, which is going to pretty much guide us to all the waypoints and stuff on the map, so we're not just flying blind. You pretty much put it anywhere you want on the glass. You can have it flat, you can have it hanging like that, and as you drive, you just kind of glance up. The different markers on the map kind of gives you an idea of where you're headed. Question marks are things, places you haven't explored yet or haven't discovered yet. But then you have some other icons on there, which you can really read in your journal to kind of get an idea of the legend for the different map. The orange exclamation points are usually going to be key locations they want you to explore, like for the quests or for the story. The red locations usually are windmill turbine areas. But like I said, you can look in your journal, you can see pretty much what each of the different icons mean in the navigation, and that'll give you an idea of what to expect when you get to that point.
Printing completed.
Okay, by building the second engine, we're going to give our ship a little bit more speed, a little bit more power there. Just go ahead and gas that up, but don't worry too much about where you put these engines and turbines, because you can always go back and recustomize or reposition things. Just recommend you do it on top of a tower where you have a nice flat base to work with and you're not like accidentally falling down into the green mist, poison mist down below. But that should double our speed now. The more turbines you get, the faster you're going to go, but it's also going to add a lot of mass and weight to your airship. So you just got to make sure that you have the turbines that can handle the turbines and the balloon that can handle all that weight.
Printing completed.
Maximum flight speed increased.
Printing completed. Printing completed.
Risk of dehydration.
Printing completed.
Okay, so now that we have 3 engines, that should pretty much triple our speed. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and craft a cooker and put that down somewhere so that we don't have to eat the moths that we catch raw, which is pretty much going to give you some negative side effects. But now we can actually boil the water so that if we get dirty water, as long as we have a clean, empty container, we'll be able to have some fresh water to keep our water from going red all the time. And we can, any of the moths that we catch or any of the food that we find, especially like raw food from vegetable farms and stuff, which we'll discover later, we'll be able to cook that and get a lot more food buffs back, so we can quickly fill up our food meter. Some of the foods that we'll find eventually also give you some water back, so that's why this cooker is pretty important. You just got to make sure that you have some empty glass flasks or water jugs to hold any kind of liquid material.
Printing completed.
Okay, so at this point, we're going to make a little bit more fuel for our 3 engines, but I think we're at a good position in the story where we're going to put a bookmark in the video, and we're going to come back and we're going to keep playing and keep exploring this foggy world. Really like this game. I hope you're liking it too. But as usual, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. Please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe because it really helps out the channel. And we will see you in the next video.